Before I forget, again, I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. So one of my favorite details in this game, you can actually see the passport on the loading screen change throughout the game. Like, more stamps get added throughout the game as you explore more locations. It's one of my favorite details in the entire game, and I keep forgetting to break it up. Activating the switch will open up this area, and oh no! Platforms are taking over the world. They're multiplying. Oh no, it's so scary. It is the most scary thing in the history of anything ever. So, as we're going across this area, that make me think of something funny. When I was playing through this, after I gave up doing live commentary, I started doing post commentary instead. Like, as I was playing through this, I was like binge watching some Skep the Walls videos. At this moment in time, I was watching the video he did on Nintendo DS accessories, and I'm gonna bleep this out because I don't usually like swearing in the videos, but this part is really funny. So, it was the moment when when Scott the Walls was talking about the headset accessory for the DS, talking about how it's compatible with Pokemon and Brain Age. And then he said something along the lines of, "You do math like a
Pepsi Man?"
That was the moment that played when I was in that last room, so that's what I was thinking about right there. So along that area before, there were a couple platforms on the ground. One of them wasn't textured like the other ones. That one is a pressure plate. That one is a pressure plate that will open up a doorway over in this area. It'll close after a few seconds, but doing that will activate the final secret of the level. I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but it seems like a majority of the levels in this game had like 3 secrets in them. The only example I could think of that was different was San Francisco Folly. We might have talked about that in the previous episode. I honestly can't remember. Which is a little sad considering the video was recorded earlier today. But here's the thing. I honestly, I do remember most of what we recorded in Atlas Mines. I can't remember every little thing. But when you also spent like several hours in a row trying to record the Atlantis level, and then eventually just give up doing live commentary and things like that, you eventually just stop and things like that and wonder what you're doing with your life. Do you want to buy some death sticks? You don't want to sell me death sticks. Nah, I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. Nah, I want to go home and rethink my life. So, one of my favorite jokes to do in Galaxy's Edge. I seem to talk about Galaxy's Edge jokes a lot. So, like, I have a large Rolodex in my mind about Galaxy's Edge jokes that I could say whenever certain situations arise and things like that. One of my favorite ones to do ever is if a traveler like tries to do like a Jedi mind trick on me or something like that. Because one of the most common ones is when they're buying like a Coke orb or something like that, or a thing of milk, blue milk or something. So they'll get ready to buy it and they'll do the Jedi mind trick saying, "You will give us this drink for free." So whenever that happens, I always love doing something along the lines of, "My tricks don't work on me, only money." I always love doing that, and usually it gets a pretty good response from travelers and things like that. It's just always a really fun time. Also reminds me of something else that was funny. So, the soda carts in Galaxy's Edge are a bit unique compared to the rest of the park. They have like cute little droids on them. And they also have 2 buttons that aren't really supposed to do anything, but they'll flash red when you press them down and things like that. So, every now and then we'll have a kid who will come up to the card and they'll be curious about the buttons and then they'll push them and it starts flashing red. So, another one of my favorite jokes I don't really get to say a whole lot often is if they'll push that button down and the button starts flashing red, and then they'll look at me and they'll be like, "Mister, what does this button do?" And I'll be like, "Oh, that's just a self-destruct button. Thankfully, we got this car from Java Traders, so the button doesn't work." So that's why I said that. It was like a group of like high school kids or whatever. Like they had the most hilarious laugh when like we were doing that. That's like one of my more favorite guest interactions in recent years. Or recent months. I haven't been there long enough to say recent years. So, at some point I'll get there. Just not quite yet. But I think my absolute favorite guest interaction at the park so far, it has to be around Halloween time. So, I don't remember if I told the story in a video before, but it was around this time, around Halloween. So we had a lot of guests coming into the parks in costumes and things like that for Mickey's Not So Scary Party in Magic Kingdom. They had a park hop and things like that. So the family, I don't remember what the parents' costumes were, but the little girl was dressed like Hatsune Miku. And I was working in the car to Hollywood Studios, and they were getting snacks for the bus ride to get over to Magic Kingdom. And it was like super adorable. So, like, we were talking to the guests, and then, like, I was talking to the girl. I was like, "Are you dressed like Hatsune Miku?" She has the biggest smile on her face, and she looks at me and was like, "Yay! What's your favorite Hatsune Miku song?" Pop it, pop, pop, the juice one. The vegetable juice one. It was so adorable. That was easily my favorite guest interaction ever. That was just such a fun day. So that's my favorite thing about working at Disney World and things like that. We get some really nice guest interactions like that. So that's definitely one of my more personal favorite ones throughout my time working at Disney. And I've probably told that story before in videos already, but why am I paused for so long right here? Okay, there we go. What was I doing? Eating a sandwich? Alright, well, now we did all that, so now we can pick up the chocolate bars, because those are very clearly chocolate bars. And describing everything that we're doing on screen, even though this is post-commentary. Yeah. All shall fear my professional commentary skills. No one can surpass this awesomeness. And speaking of awesomeness, this next area, it's pretty cool. So we got a couple Atlantean soldiers over there, but you may have seen it on the side of the screen. There was another one that looks pretty different. Their figure looks a little bit more closer to Laura, and she was mimicking her movements. This is the Doppelganger. Probably one of the more infamous enemies in the Tomb Raider series. I don't think it appears in any other game aside from Anniversary, but the Doppelganger has a pretty interesting history amongst the Tomb Raider franchise. So like I said, I don't think it reappears again until Anniversary or anything like that. In this game, it's implied that it doesn't really have its own free will or anything like that. In Tomb Raider Anniversary, when it does reappear, it's implied that it kinda does. So it does still mimic Laura's actions and things like that, but we'll get a closer look at the Doppelganger right here. And I gotta say, the character model looks funny. I'm sorry, but this is honestly a really funny looking character model. She looks like... I'm gonna ruin this character for everybody watching this, but she honestly looks like E.T. trying to look like Lara Croft. Like, when I was a kid, I thought that her head looked like E.T. And that's what I always thought afterwards, so I can't unsee her without thinking of that. But, yeah. In Tomb Raider Anniversary, when the Doppelganger is defeated, she kind of screams, and it's kind of tragic. So it's implied that she does have enough free will to realize that she's about to die and things like that. And then the Tomb Raider Underworld Doppelganger is all kinds of awesome, and she may very well be my favorite character in the entire Tomb Raider franchise if it wasn't for Lara Croft herself. And the thing about that is that I really, really wish we had a Doppelganger game. Because, spoilers for Tomb Raider Underworld, but the Doppelganger is still alive by the end of the game. And just, why can't the Doppelganger return? She's like one of the coolest characters in the entire Tomb Raider franchise, and it makes me so sad that she never returned in a future game. But what you want to do, the door won't open while both of us are here. So what you want to do, you want to have Laura and the doppelganger running around this area. And as we go across this place, that trapdoor will be on a timer, so you want to keep that in mind. But we go over here, and the doppelganger is now defeated. Don't mix up these platforms, by the way, because if you fall down the trapdoor, you're going to fall into magma, and that's not very good for your complexion. Like, I'm sure it might be tempting to use it as, like, I don't know, like a soothing oil or something like that. I don't know how that would work, but as tempting as that might be, you probably don't want to do that. It's not good for your complexion. But with all that taken care of, we're getting pretty close to the end. Hopefully, because this level never freaking ends. We've had a few cool moments here and there. I do really like the doppelganger moment. The last room in this place is also pretty cool too. And the site we see where we're like at the bottom of the pyramid, we can see how high we have to climb and things like that. Those moments are cool. But yeah, I'm not very fond of this level. But I just had to keep that in there because I was already happy with the run that we did with the doppelganger fight. So I just had to keep that in there. But then I forgot to turn my capture card back on when we were fighting those enemies. So all you need to know is that there's a couple cat mummy bad guys, or 19 soldiers or whatever. And there's also a centaur. The centaur is not very polite. So the best strategy for that is to go back into the hallway, because if you're able to angle it at a good angle, then when they fire their explosives at you, more often than not, they'll hit the ceiling instead of you. So that's probably going to be one of the better options to go with that. We activate the one switch, which will open the drawbridge. I believe these are on a timer as well, because of course everything in this level has to be on a timer. But with all that taken care of, now we can head over this way. And the Skion is just up ahead. That is one giant egg. Pink Garmin would be happy. And now, it's time to claim our sweet, sweet reward.
You can't do this.
We condemn you, Nakla of Atlantis, for your crimes, for the flagrant misuse of your powers, and for robbing us of ours.
You can't,
Breaking the three bond of consent that our people are ruled and secured under, and invading Teopan and myself with our army, our warriors, empty from our pyramid, so that you can use the pyramid, its powers of creation, for your own mindless destruction.
Mindless? Look at you! Neither of you have one squirt of inventive juice in your heads. Wasters.
Let's just do it.
Tehokan!
You use the sacramental place as a source of individual pleasure. As some freak factory.
They're survivalists, a new generation.
A slaughter heap now. And you, we're gonna lock you in limbo. Make your veins, heart, feet, and that diseased brain stick solid with frozen blood. Greet your eternal unrest, Natla!
You won't rest either, or your damned continent Atlantis. Back again.
And you? For a grand reopening, I assume.
Evolution's in a rut. Natural selection at an all-time low. Shipping out fresh meat will incite territorial rages again. Will strengthen and advance us. Even create new breeds.
Kind of evolution on steroids, then.
A kick in the pants. Those runts Qualopec and Tehocan had no idea. The cataclysm of Atlantis struck a race of languoring wimps, plummeted them to the very basics of survival again. It shouldn't happen like that.
Or like this.
Hatching commences in 15 seconds.
Too late for abortions now.
Not without the heart of the operation.
No!